This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and this is the HTC HD7S. As you might guess, it's a cousin to the HD7 on T-Mobile, but this one's available on AT&T. It runs Windows Phone 7, and it has a couple of important improvements over the T-Mobile version. For one thing, this is using a Super LCD, so we complained about the T-Mobile version having a kind of washed out, old-fashioned LCD display. Not so with this, bright and crisp. It's not Super AMOLED, ultimately wildly vivid, but it's a very nice display with much wider viewing angles. It doesn't tend to wash out. Certainly a very important part of your experience with this 4.3-inch 800 by 480 pixel display. They've also improved the camera on the back. This is a 5-megapixel shooter, which is standard for Windows Phone 7. It's the minimum spec, and that's what manufacturers have been using. And on this guy, HTC seems to have updated the camera module a bit. Instead of using the old module from the HD2, if you remember that, a Windows mobile phone, this one takes actually better pictures. It focuses more quickly, and it doesn't have the color bias that we saw. Though sometimes on screen, after you take a picture, it looks like there's a color bias. Once you upload it to your computer, you'll see that it doesn't have that. Otherwise, it's quite similar to the T-Mobile versions. You can see this is a very slim phone. Feels good in hand. A typical HTC high quality, nice soft touch finish on the back, liberal use of metals. We've got the really cool kickstand here. Since this is a 4.3-inch display, you can just kick it back, put it on the table, and watch videos. Really nice for that. And underneath here we have a kind of gold colored metal plate for some contrast. It looks nice. And there's a speaker here, which is moderately loud and kind of thin and tinny sounding, honestly. It's certainly not up to the surround, also on AT&T. It's a Windows Phone 7 device with slide-out Dolby speakers. This back panel slides off and you have access to the battery, 1320 milliamps. Not a very high capacity battery, so this isn't one of the longest lived of Windows Phone 7 devices. But that said, it's a 3G phone, so it's not going to suck up a whole lot of power connecting to the network. You've got the usual Windows standard capacitive backlit touch buttons here for back, going home, and for searching. And the dedicated camera button on the side, we love that. That's a requirement for Windows Phone 7. Your volume keys here. Now, there's a bevel, as you can see on the side here. And this is slightly slippery on the side too, so it can be a little bit hard to press these buttons, the most difficult actually being the camera button of all things. Even if the phone is asleep, if you press and hold the camera button, it will wake up and take a picture. You're certainly not going to be pressing that by accident. I'm working pretty hard at pressing that. Likewise, to take a picture, you press and hold to take the picture. Now, there's nothing for it to focus on right now, but if we move over to something we can actually look at, you can see that it's color metering a little bit better, and you just press and hold. It's going immediate autofocus. You can access settings by touching the little wheel here, and you can change your effects, your scenes. I find that setting it to landscape mode often does a better job of color balancing, and you can choose your metering mode, and you can enable or disable the dual LED flash on the back. And if you want to switch to video taking mode, you just use the slider down here. And what happens to the pictures you've just taken? You see the little gray bar over here? That's a hint that there's your picture roll right there. And you can scroll through those. It's very quick, supports pinch zooming, incredibly responsive, as all Windows phones are, Windows 7 phone that is. When you're looking at a picture over here, you can upload this to SkyDrive if you want. Here's an option, and right there you can put it up on your Windows Live account. You don't have to do that, obviously, if you're taking pictures you'd rather not share. And you can also set permissions that anybody can see them, or just you, or just people you provide the link to. But it's very quick to upload. We'll do that right now, and it'll be done in a flash. You can see the little dot 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 buttons up here, meaning it's working, and it's already done. Now it puts up a smaller version of the image. It's not a 5-megapixel image. It's about 800 by 500 pixels up on the web, but it does a very good job. In terms of user interface, this is like every other Windows Phone 7 device that we've covered so far. That means the LG Quantum, the HTC Surround, the Samsung Focus on AT&T. And you've got the Metro UI here. That's what Microsoft calls their tile interface, which has some live tiles. You can see my people tiles refreshing over here, and it'll keep showing me pictures of my friends. You've got a shortcut to the dialer here. You've got messaging. I'll show you what that looks like. And those are inline messages. And it's a threaded messaging interface. You've got Hotmail, of course. You can pick up MS Exchange, regular POP3 or IMAP email, Gmail, all those good things here. Since it's an AT&T phone, we've got AT&T Uverse here. If you don't want these things, by the way, these tiles, you can just press and hold and delete them. Say we don't want AT&T Uverse because we're not a Uverse customer. Just hit that little, it's gone. Likewise, if you want to add something to one of your tiles over here, you just go over here and pick something that you would like to put on the home screen. I'm going to choose Flickster. I'm going to choose Pin to Start. And by default, it's going to pick the bottommost empty available tile. You can pick these guys up and arrange them however you like them. You've got a calendar widget here that shows you anything that's upcoming in your calendar. Shortcut to Xbox Live Games, your Internet Explorer. Shortcut to your Pictures Gallery, the Windows Marketplace, where you'll download applications. We'll show you that in a bit. AT&T Navigator is on board, which is good. This has Bing Maps, of course, and Bing Search, being a Microsoft product, but Bing Maps does not currently do spoken turn-by-turn navigation. So if you want that feature, AT&T Navigator for $10 a month is the way to go. Since this is an HTC phone, we have HTC Hub over here, which shows you current weather, and you can download a couple of custom HTC apps. We like their YouTube player, their compass. They have a couple of useful utilities. That's your own tile right here, the Me tile, and of course that's Flickster I just put down there, and Seismic, which is a very nice Twitter and Facebook application, particularly useful for Twitter. Facebook integration is very heavy in the phone and contacts. It's very well done, but Microsoft has yet to integrate Twitter into the contacts of the phone. If you want to see all of your applications, you can either just tap on the arrow or slide over. Metro UI is full of side sliding to get to things, and you can see all the apps that we have installed here. There are plenty of apps now available on the Windows Phone Marketplace. As you can see here, we've got Microsoft's YouTube player as well as HTC's Netflix, available for all Windows phones, and we'll show you how that works. Weather Channel, IMDb, Flickster Movies, plenty of useful stuff to keep you entertained. And of course Office is built in as well, since this is a Microsoft product. Since this is running Nodo out of the box, that's Microsoft's update for Windows Phone 7, you have copy and paste built in. You still can't change your ringtones, and there is no full flash plugin. You do get mobile flash player for things like YouTube, but that's it. This will be eligible for the Mango update that Microsoft just talked about a couple of days ago. That's going to be available this fall, and that adds the miraculous 500 new features, including useful things like full multitasking, and we're really looking forward to that. It looks very cool. We just wish they could get it out sooner. If you want to get applications on a device, you just go to the Windows Phone Marketplace. Anything that you purchase is part of your account, and you can download it to another Windows 7 phone, should you get one, to a maximum of 5 on your account at any time. Likewise goes with Zune Music. So we've got AT&T's preferred apps, HTC's apps, all apps, games, and music. And you can go sideways and see what's featured today in terms of applications and music. And you can search, of course, for anything you want. They've got some work to do on search. For example, if you forget a space or accidentally add a space in an application name, you might not find it. And you can look by category. Say you want to look at lifestyle apps. And you can sort by top in popularity, new, free, and by categories again. Now I'll take a look at the YouTube player. We're going to use Microsoft's own YouTube player. And we'll take a look at some previous searches to pick up something you might want to play. And we'll go with X-Men. And we'll look at the official HD trailer. And this is over AT&T's 3G network. Again, this is a 3G phone, not an HSPA plus 4G phone, for whatever that's worth. And if you switch to Wi-Fi, it plays it in higher quality mode automatically. Whereas the HTC application allows you to choose your quality irrespective of your connection type. And now we've turned Wi-Fi on, you can see that you get a higher resolution, better quality, larger version of the video if you're on Wi-Fi. Now, that's quite nice looking. And now let's take a look at Netflix. Here's our home screen. It shows us things that we've got in our queue, and we're just going to resume watching a TV show we've been watching earlier.
Thank you so much for coming. What an amazing turnout.
And it usually takes it a minute to buffer up and get sharp. Yeah, it looks good. And it sounds pretty good too. Sound quality is quite good on Netflix. We're near maximum for volume now, by the way, so this is just about as loud as it's going to get. If we open the flip stand, which covers the speaker, it's a little bit louder. That's looking pretty good on a 4.3-inch display. That's a nice way to watch some TV and movies. And now we're going to take a look at the web browser, which is Internet Explorer Mobile. We're looking forward to the next version that's in Mango, which will support plugins in Flash. And you can see here you've got your URL bar, ... down here. Always takes you to anything else you can do. Go to settings and so on, add to favorites, all that stuff. Of course, you can add to favorites right down here, or visit your favorite. Here we've loaded our own website. Now the URL bar is only available in portrait mode. There's still not complete landscape support in this version of Windows Phone 7, unfortunately, so you don't get to use that nice landscape keyboard or have access to all the menus and things. So once the page is loaded, you can scroll, you can pinch and zoom. And it does a reasonably good job of rendering. It is not as good as the iOS or Android browsers insofar as sometimes outlines around images and a couple of little CSS items might not render perfectly until you zoom in. But it's fairly competent. No complaints there. Now we'll tap on our Nexus S review. It waits till the page is pretty much downloaded before it starts rendering, for better or worse. And there is no inline viewing of YouTube videos. It doesn't automatically link to the YouTube player here unless there's a mobile-friendly link provided on the website. Next, we'll take a look at Xbox Live, which is a big selling point of the phone, obviously. This and iOS are the best gaming platforms on phones currently available. Shows you what I've got in collection and other suggestions and things I might want to download. You can download trials of all these games and applications to check them out before you buy them, by the way. You can edit your avatar here, and we'll go into Need for Speed Undercover. Alright, so here we are in Need for Speed. Beautiful looking and responsive. Excellent gaming platform, this. Turbo boost. And of course the phone has MS Office built in. It's got OneNote right here. You can see you can explore OneNote, for example, because it's very well optimized for touchscreens and pen input as well. Not that this has pen input, but it does work for that if you have a tablet PC. And you can do Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. So here's a Word document right here. Pretty nice formatting. Pinch zooming. And you can edit the document, of course. You can send it. You can save it. And if you wish to edit, there's the on-screen keyboard. So we've got Office on board. The HD7S has 16 gigs of internal storage with about 13 gigs available. There is no micro SD card slot. Other than the Samsung Focus, these phones don't because of the way the file system is managed by Microsoft. You've got Wi-Fi 802.11bg and on board Bluetooth with the 8.2 stereo profile. Of course, the GPS that works with Bing Maps and AT&T Navigator, the 5 megapixel camera, and this runs on a 1 gigahertz Qualcomm Snapdragon CPU first gen. Now, it may be first generation CPU, but that's the reference CPU for the platform, and the operating system is highly optimized to work well with that CPU and integrated GPU. Let's compare this to a couple of other devices. This is a 4.3-inch device, so of course it's fairly large, but you can get even bigger. This is the Samsung Infuse 4G next to it, which is a 4.5-inch Android phone. Actually makes the HTC look a little bit small. They're both quite thin. And here's Verizon's first Windows Phone 7 device. This is the HTC Trophy. That's also available just now. There's a 3.8-inch display, a little bit more small, pocketable. A bit thicker though. Of course, this one is for Verizon's network. And lastly, here we have it compared to the iPhone. Obviously, the iPhone is relatively petite with a 3.5-inch display. So that's the HTC HD7S. It's going to be available at the beginning of June on AT&T. We like it a lot. Windows Phone 7 has a lot going for it, even though it hasn't sold a lot of devices just yet. I think this one's going to be an important one for them, being on AT&T, a very large carrier with that upgraded 4.3-inch display. It's very turnkey, very fun to use, very easy to use. For those of you who find Android a little bit too geeky or difficult to deal with, or a little bit too wild, wild west trying to figure out what applications to get, this lives in something of a walled garden like iOS, and it's also very easy to use. It syncs with your PC to get music on board. You use the Zune desktop software. You can transfer any music that you have, or you can sign up for the Zune service. And you can buy music from Zune, and you can also sign up for a subscription model, which we like a lot, which for $15 a month, you get 10 tracks to keep for yourself, and you can download as much music as you want onto the device, and of course onto your computer itself. Other than that, applications, you get them directly using the phone. You don't have to use a PC. You can cloud sync to Exchange with this, to Gmail and Google Contacts, Google Calendar, all that kind of stuff too. And of course, if you're into gaming, this is really an excellent phone to choose because you've got the Xbox Live integration. You can, if you have an Xbox Live account, you can download your scores, get some special content, all that kind of thing. And there's a lot of great Tier 1 titles on this that really give iOS a run for its money. Not as many titles still as iOS just yet, but they're really growing quickly. An excellent gaming experience. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Be sure to visit our website for the full review.